Welcome in the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter, and that is, of course, Cousin Shane trying to spell medalist over there. How you doing, you big old Tennessee Hober?
Hey, boy, what's going on?
Ooh, speed walking gold medalist. 90. I thought you were going to say NCAA gold medal or something over there.
No, I'm taking it easy on it. I didn't feel like rubbing it in too bad, but no, it seems like every time I get on, we got another little Olympic video floating around. It's never like good stuff. It's never like just somebody winning. It's somebody having trouble with the pole vault, and so or a boxing match or something like that. So that's what my Twitter feed's full of. I've not watched. Have you watched any Olympics?
Didn't even know what was going on, Shane. I mean, I'm seeing the tweets, but that's about as close as I get to Olympics.
I know. Does that make you like less American for not watching? I remember growing up, it used to be a bigger deal, and
Right.
it did kind of sneak up on us here. So, I hope America wins. I did see a thing that said we're in first, and I think we're tied with gold medals with China. So apparently that's a good thing going on. But that's about the extent. I've been all college football, brother.
Right. Yeah. It's all about timing, Shane. I mean, it's kind of like World Cup when that rolls around.
Mm-hmm.
If they throw that, in the middle of summer, there's no football on, I may watch a game or two. But you put the Olympics here in fall camp, I'm not even going to acknowledge that is even going on.
Should they move it because of college football, you think?
Oh, I definitely think they should, buddy. You know what?
Absolutely, brother. Hey, it is locked and loaded. I will tell you, brother, if you can filter through, like I said, all the politics and the Olympic stuff, it's all college football, buddy, and it is fired up. I'm starting to see some of the practice reels come out.
Oh,
and, it's tough not to get too excited.
Yeah, we've been so busy, Shane. We've not even got into a lot of the coach comments. I've got coach comment from damn near every coach in the SEC. So kind of recapping, we're already a week into this thing, man.
Yeah.
We are literally weeks away from the start of college football. And real quick, I wanted to throw this at you. I don't know if you saw this. I know you don't pay a ton of attention to what I'm tweetering out there, Shane. But we got obviously, I mean, we got games all day Saturday, and I'm talking week 1.
Yeah.
But we have a couple games here, 2 on Thursday, 1 on Friday. Have you seen the point spreads for these games, Shane? I just want to throw them at you if you haven't seen it.
No, I haven't. I'm sorry.
All right, why would you? I mean, get ready, buckle up your seatbelt, buddy. Arkansas, Pine Bluff at Arkansas. I believe this is in Little Rock. Guess the spread for this one.
17.
Oh my God, not even close, Shane.
No?
Arkansas favored by 52.5.
Holy cow, man. Really?
Yeah, so you'll sense a theme here. Murray State at Mizzou, the other Thursday game. What's the projected spread there?
42.5.
Closer, 47.5. And then Friday we got Temple at Oklahoma. What do you think the spread is for that one?
I would say it's going to be up there too. 49.
42.5. So point being, we're going to get some blowouts, but I cannot wait. I don't care if the spread's 99. I don't care if it's 100 points. I'm going to be locked in and ready for those games. You know what?
Damn, why am I expecting a close game with Arkansas peanut butter there? It's like I thought for a second. The more I think about it,
you really hate them Razorbacks, apparently.
God, no, I just know. There's always one of these games that pop up that you're supposed to beat by 7 touchdowns, and then all of a sudden it's halftime and you're up 14 points and kicking off in the second half. I hope that's not the case. I hope that after week 0 or week 1 here that we're looking back and just maybe over-hyping the teams, because they did have a 7-score win.
Hey, real quick before we get into the comments, because this is one that a lot of Oklahoma people hit me up with, Shane, when I visited Norman, and it sounds like I'll be visiting Norman once again for that Tennessee game. So, hey, reach out to anybody if you can help with tickets, because apparently they're astronomical. But Cousin James asked, fellas, why is Tennessee projected to be great while Oklahoma is projected to struggle when they're both in very similar situations? Hope y'all are having a good weekend, Boomer. And I don't know that the situations are that familiar, to be quite honest with you, but I think what he's getting at, and this is what a lot of Oklahoma people hit me up with, Shane, was just the fact that both are starting quarterbacks that are true sophomores, that were 5 stars, that only have 1 start under their belt. So in that sense, they are similar. Even though I did a radio show down there, and they said, well, why does Nico get all this hype, but Jackson Arnold doesn't outside of Norman? But it's completely different, Shay, because one of the guys won his bowl game 35-0, was named bowl MVP.
Yeah.
The other guy lost his bowl game and had 4 turnovers, I think it was. Now, again, that's not saying Jackson Arnold's a bad player or anything, but I really think also the fact that Oklahoma, obviously their offensive line's a question mark. Go ask Cole Kublik. He's got Tennessee as a top 5 offensive line in the SEC. I think Tennessee may have the best defensive line in the SEC, while Oklahoma, I don't think they're some huge liability on the defensive side of the line, but it remains to be seen if they are SEC caliber. So I get it, but and then lastly, Shane, I've updated these schedules, made them a little bit prettier here. This is the big one. Someone put it to me this way: Oklahoma is playing damn near every SEC team that has playoff aspirations aside from Georgia.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Tennessee, Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri, Bama, LSU. Every one of those fan bases, they're not demanding playoff. Well, hell, I mean, most of them are demanding playoff, but at least the conversation, while Tennessee, I mean, who are you facing that has playoff aspirations? Georgia, Bama, Oklahoma, maybe?
Yeah.
That's the list right there.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. But if you flip back, I think the biggest one, not just the scheduling, but the games that you just mentioned, a bulk of those are on the road, Right. You've got Ole Miss, you got Mizzou, technically Texas, but LSU, Death Valley at the end. I mean, those last 3 games, it's just scheduling for me.
Yeah.
I think if you gave Oklahoma, Tennessee schedule, I think we're having a lot more hype coming in this game. I believe there would be more people that are saying Oklahoma is a college football playoff team. Now, again, we're guessing. It's August. We haven't played one football game yet.
Yeah.
That all goes out the window week 2. When you play Tennessee, that's why I told you that's one of the most pivotal games. Comparing yourself to other SEC programs, all that shit gets put to bed if you come out and you put that game away. But you get beat, then everybody's going to say, see, they got a long road ahead of them.
Yeah, no doubt. And Shane, we got our first donation. Cousin Wesley, not a $10 donation. Really appreciate your Cousin Wesley. Will Tennessee become quarterback U with all these quarterbacks coming in? So let's start right there with the Vols, Shane. I knew this was going to be a popular one, so I threw it up here. If you missed it, Tennessee landed a commitment 5-star quarterback, Faison Brandon, who, according to the recruiting services, not just number 1 quarterback, number 1 overall prospect.
Yeah.
In a 2026 recruiting class. They've got a commitment from George McIntyre, who I think he's currently today, I think he's a 4-star, but he was rated a 5-star, so he's borderline. They just landed another 4-star, Jake Merklinger, and then they got Nico coming up here. So I'll just let you take this one, Shade. Is Tennessee quarterback U here?
By God, they're on the right path, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what we've talked about with Josh Heupel and why we're so excited about Tennessee Vols. It's just because we've just missed the quarterback. Hendon Hooker was like a prelude, if you will, of what could happen in Tennessee if all the pieces come together. And now you're looking at these recruiting class after recruiting class, and it's not the whole class. It's the guy in charge. Like most of these teams that we're talking about going to a playoff, we're talking about that because of the quarterback, the guy that's taking that snap every single time. And now you've got 4 quarterbacks in a row that most teams would love to have on their roster. So yeah, damn, well, I'm pumped up, man. It's a long time, so I'm looking at National Signing Day and everything, we're going to have to send a lot more Chick-fil-A his way, but as long as all goes well in the season, man, we're going to keep putting in quarterbacks in Knoxville. So that's an awesome sign. If you're a Tennessee fan that for the longest time was just happy to get a 4-star quarterback, or
right.
a 3-star that we painted a picture like, well, if he does this or this happens this, he may be, now we're starting to get those guys that we weren't getting 10, 15 years ago.
Right. And again, all these guys, I mean, we would love it if all the guys you sign are all stars, but we know the reality is that's not going to happen for a variety of reasons, injuries, just not living up to the hype, this, that, or the other. Quite frankly, the players around you, you know what I mean? I mean, a lot goes into it, but that's why you sign 4 elite quarterbacks, because if all you need is one to hit, and you got yourself a really legitimate offense here with Josh Heupel, his track record with quarterbacks that don't have the promise that a lot of these guys have is already outstanding. So reason for optimism, I think it should be at an all-time high going into the season for the Tennessee Vols. Now, we do got to mention real quick, Shane, this was rough news here. Credit Austin Price, VolQuest Insider, first one reported it. Defensive back Jordan Thomas out for the season. So that's a guy that struggled with injuries. He started the bowl game. Yeah. That was his only start, but he was projected to be a starter this year at nickel. So with him out, it likely will have to be Boo Carter, the true freshman.
Boo Carter season.
Yeah, so again, this is a name we've been hearing a lot of, but he may be forced into action. That's could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. It remains to be seen. But man, you can't hold Boo back anymore, can you?
No, you can't. But I hate injuries. But it's that time of the year. You're going to have some. We've heard rumors already about some big time players maybe got hurt. Really didn't get hurt, but it's just that's where we're at right now. You're just praying to God that everybody shows up week 1, that they make it, because we've talked about all off season, for you to get where you want to be, you got to have a little bit of lady luck on your side. And that really comes down to just keeping your boys healthy. So you hate to hear it for Tennessee. I mean, one of the things Heupel was happy about was the depth, but if you start losing guys, then you start losing that depth.
Right. Well, and then last thing on Tennessee, we'll move on to a different team here, Shane. Hopefully these comments don't come back to bite him and don't come back to bite you old Tennessee homer. But Nico says, I like away games even better than home games. Let's kick it over to Nico.
This season's kind of got a weird schedule to it. You have a neutral site game and then 2 road games before your first SEC home game in October. What are your thoughts on road games, neutral site games? Do you enjoy going into somebody else's house versus being at home?
I definitely love road games more than home games. I don't want to upset our Neyland fans. I love playing in Neyland Stadium, but I feel like away games, I just feel like all the odds are against you. Gives you a little more. Just gives you a little bit more, that feeling that you get. Yeah, you could say focus. I think there's plenty of other words that you can use, but going on the road is something I've always loved to do since a young age.
So how excited are you for Oklahoma then to open conference play?
Yeah, I'm excited. Yes, ma'am, I'm excited.
After games.
Oh, buddy. I mean, you don't want to fire those fans up any more than you have to, but I don't know. Will these comments come back to bite them at all, you think?
Well, there's a reason they probably didn't bring him to media days. This is a tool you sharpen. But hey, I'm glad it was with local media, and I don't think it was too bad here. But again, I get where he's coming from. It's a different venue when you're on the road, because you do go as a team, you do go as a family, and it's like sometimes when you're at home, you have some, you just heard my dogs barking a few minutes ago. There's distractions around you, but when you're on the road as a family, it's like it's just all football and task at hand. So I get where he's coming from and how this could get twisted, but I'm not upset with it at all.
Okay. I just remember flashes of T. Martin, Shane, saying, what did he say? The swamp is like playing at Kentucky, some nonsense like that, and. Oh, buddy, that was
T. Martin.
That was the end of his Heisman campaign that day.
Yeah. Let's move on. Next. Don't ruin it. Tennessee's had pretty good news here. What do we got next?
All right, how about this one, Shane? I think you'll really like this. Our buddy Billy He's got they got a new motto down there in Gainesville. They're keeping it clean this year. Let's kick it over, Billy.
The cleaning staff, the people that take care of the building. I'm walking out of the building just the other night, and a guy walks up to me and says, "Hey, Coach, I don't know what's going on around here, but this group, I've never seen that locker room look like it looks right now, and I've never seen guys engage our staff, the food service staff. So it's healthy. Now it's time to go execute, right? We've got to get football specific. So I'm a firm believer that better people are better football players. And I think we'll prove that this fall.
What are your thoughts about having another fan day at the Swamp? And what?
All right, Shade. So do clean locker rooms, will that be the turnaround in Gainesville?
Oh my God. We just got off Tennessee, but you got to remember there was a time Derek Dooley went in like 10-minute sesh about how to properly clean, and we saw how that turned out. So anybody listening want to make a fun video, splice this with Derek Dooley, and you'll see where they're at in their future.
Right, and that, in fairness, Shane, those comments did come before unfortunate news. It's been widely reported down there by now, but their running back, Montrell Johnson, had a knee scope. Still undetermined how long he's going to be out, but obviously all eyes on that opener against Miami. That is, we have talked about it to no end, Shane. No need to rehash the importance of that game, but a guy that you and I both put on our All-SEC ballot, one of the best running backs in the SEC, Billy Napier, loves to run the football. Again, it's unclear how quickly Montrell Johnson can return, but if he is unable to go, that's just going to be a blow going into this critical game to open the season.
And it's not fair. It's not fair for Florida fans. It's not fair for Billy, but when you're on a hot seat, every little thing becomes a big thing. And here we're talking about clean locker rooms. Kirby could have said the same thing and nobody would have put it up there. They're saying it because you're going to be under a microscope here, especially you looked at that schedule, the first 4 or 5 games, because if you trip up early, these little things become big things, and they're just looking for something to print. They're looking for something to pile on because people like to pile on. So I hate this for Johnson because he is going to be such a big piece of that offense. And even if he does get it cleaned up, what does it look like week 3, week 4? Can he go the distance? Can he carry the load like we expected him to do coming into week 1? So that's a big hit, man. Even if they say he is ready, how many times have we heard that and they get some sort of ankle surgery and then they're out another, it's just a lingering thing. You hope that's not what it is. You hope they're able to clean it up and get him back out there because they're going to need all hands on deck if they're going to surprise some folks this year.
Right. And as Cousin William says, don't worry, we still got ETN. Oh, wait. Oh, no.
Too soon.
No.
Too soon.
Hey, we kid. Well, actually, we got more kid coming from them real quick. But, it's not all bad, Shane. Hell, again, Graham Mertz exceeded all my wildest expectations last year. And as Billy puts it, he's taking his game to another level, his leadership to another level. Let's kick it back over to Billy.
Yeah.
Orlando Sentinel. What's the next step in Graham Mertz's evolution?
I think, number one, Graham Mertz has had a phenomenal offseason. Mentally, physically, emotionally, the leadership element. I think he started in a different place in January. There's a different level of confidence. And then his place on the team. It's his team. And he proved it on the field last year with how not only he produced, but also the way he competed, the toughness, the grit. So I think that's going to produce the next step. I don't necessarily think the next step is how he plays in the fall. I think he's been working on that next step, and that'll prove to be what'll get him here is the work that he's done up until this point, right? So I think we're going to play better around him. I have confidence in that. I think we have a better group up front. I think we have an experienced tight end group that we didn't have last year. And I think the receiving core, there's a ton of competition in that room, and I think we'll end up in a good place. So play better around him, and then the work he's done going all the way back to January will provide that next step.
So I got his stats pulled up here. Again, Shane, he was number one, Graham Mertz, that is, number one completion percentage in the SEC, 20-3 touchdown to interception ratio. You could say a little dink and dunk. He didn't push the ball down the field. That may have had more to do with his receivers and the offensive line, a lot of factors. We'll have to add that to his game this season. But again, all the jokes, all the haters for Florida Gators, I think they should have confidence that a better year's coming mainly because of Graham Mertz.
Yeah, and I think it all goes through him, to be honest with you. And if he takes that, it doesn't have to be a monumental step, but like you said, there'll be games on the line that Mertz is going to have to win. And if he's able to take that step forward and show that maturation, then, buddy, it's the weapons for me. And he kind of hit it on a little bit. He talked about the offensive line. He talked about the receivers. This was a very young team that now has another year of reps. And I think that's the pivotal piece too, is having some of those check downs that you can go to, those safety valves, finding, some playmakers. You got some dudes out there, Trey for one, these guys can take a 5-6 yard check down and all of a sudden 80 yards to the house. Kind of, you're going to have a little bit of that, but there will be games Mertz has to win, man.
And they got to clean it up, particularly on special teams, Shane. And they have found a method to do that. I'll throw up a little. I thought this was a troll at first. This is apparently real. If you're just listening back later, they have a mat with 11 white circles on it.
Yeah.
So that they can get 11 guys on the field. It's special. That last spot, Shane, that's reserved for kickers, punters. We don't get any confusion there. But they are literally running a pad out this year for special teams with 11 white dots. You get out there, you get on your dot. That way we know we got 11 on the field. I don't know why in the hell we got 300 coaches down there in Gainesville, why we need this twister mat here. But have you ever seen anything like this, Shane?
No, but the moment they have 12 on the damn field, they're going to go back to this mat and they're going to replay it. It's, I'm surprised there aren't names on there. That would be like the best part. Like, I was thinking, does the kicker get the one that's to the bottom by itself?
He does. Oh, okay, I have confirmed that.
Damn, no, it's going to be shown. It's going to be on TV. It's the first thing. So, yeah. But again, it's they started out so sluggish last year. They made so many stupid mistakes that if it takes a damn mat to not get a 5-yard penalty, then fine. I'm all for it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I'm going to make fun of you while you do it, and you're standing there like you're waiting for your bus to pick you up. But yes, I find it funny. But if it saves a penalty, I'm all for it.
Right. Hey, we got another one, Shane, for cousin James here, $5. I feel like y'all are underestimating the Sooner defense. Returning 9 of 11 starters should make for one of the best in the SEC. Hammer the over/under 7.5 for Oklahoma. Hey, I agree with that. I don't think we said anything bad about the defense there, other than I don't think it's going to be the caliber of Tennessee's defensive line. But great points there. But again, difficult road.
Yeah.
And I do think it's smart, Shane, that you got a conference now. This ain't 5-10 years ago where defense was loaded, or SEC was loaded with defense.
Yeah.
Now it's loaded with offense. We're all these quarterbacks and receivers are going to the NFL, high round draft picks, but the defense has suffered. Georgia's got a great defense. Bama had a good defense under Saban. We'll see if that remains the case. Kentucky should be pretty solid, but there's not many around the conference that you sit here and say they got a really dynamic defense.
Yeah.
That's why I think Oklahoma could be smart with Brent Venables. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's proven that at Clemson. He can build a championship defense. I think he may have one, or at least pretty soon there in Oklahoma if he doesn't already. So, good points there. That should be said as well. But speaking of Venables.
On that note, too, though.
Yes, sir.
I get you're upset. Maybe some Oklahoma fans are upset that they didn't get the warm embrace that Texas did. That no one's kissing their ass, telling them how good they're going to be, yada, yada, yada. But, every team's undefeated right now, Mike.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you would want this as a new kid on the block. Have some doubters out there, and come out and show us that we underestimated you. How many times have we been wrong? I was looking at my first SEC media ballot. Oh my God, I was so damn upside down, but I was super confident coming into week 1 how I thought it would end, just as I'm super confident now. But how many times have you thought that, and then at the end of the year, you're looking at a team that came out of nowhere, that everybody just kind of put down, that said they didn't have a shot, and now in 2024, the opportunities couldn't be better. With the expansion of the college football playoffs, you don't have to go to an SEC championship to make a championship run. There's so many great things that could happen. You just need to catch fire. And yes, Oklahoma has a tough schedule. But does Oklahoma have a tough schedule if Ole Miss doesn't have Jaxson Dart? Not saying Jaxson Dart's going to get hurt, but I'm just saying if he's not there now, does Oklahoma have a tough schedule if we find out that Nico's a fraud? Not saying that Nico is, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying there's a lot of things that could happen one way or the other. But on the opposite end, it could go the opposite way. Oklahoma could be looking at a 7-win season, and then all of a sudden we were right. So that's the beautiful thing about this year is there's so many moving pieces, so many new looks, and everybody. There's so many teams that have an opportunity to compete for that playoff spot. I just think we're going to be at the tail end of November, just waiting for a fuck. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to say the F-bomb. Sorry, Mom. Sorry. Get a little fired up. Football's in the air.
Hey, Drew Lock. I wonder if it's the Drew Lock. He's asking, did Jaxson Dart tear his ACL? We got to stop with these big game boomers, message board geniuses. I mean, more power to them, but we got to. I mean, we were getting inundated with this too. We cannot take what these dumbass accounts are sharing as gospel. No, Jaxson Dart did not tear his ACL. I mean, this is the day.
They literally came out with a video, him throwing a football, just to prove his ACL's fine.
But that's going to be a question till we actually see him on the field at a game day. You know what?
What if they're right, though? Are you going to issue an apology for message board?
Yeah, I will. But, hey, Shay, this is what I wanted to get to next. Since we're talking Oklahoma, we got a couple of things from Venables. Here's another thing. Oklahoma and Texas. Maybe not Texas so much, but I've been nice to these teams. They got to do a better job with these clips, Shane. They don't do it. We're having, thanks to our buddies over at Sooner Scoop. That's the only way we get in these videos. Put your coach at a podium. Give us the video content. I can't find anything from Texas, Shane. So here's Venables on the offensive line. One of the biggest storylines in all the SEC.
Line group, obviously 5 spots there. Are all those spots up for grabs? And how's that group, I guess, come along so far in the first few days?
I think it's appropriate to say that. It's not we don't have 50 guys to choose from, and but love the group of guys. It's a group that the hard work has shown that's been going on since the spring, and with a couple of additions here this fall camp since the last time we laced them up, and so really like how that group's coming along. And got good depth there in regards to guys that we feel like can play winning football. And Jacob Sexton, Jake Taylor, Mike Tarquin, Fabechi, Branson Hickman, Josh Bates, several other guys, along with those guys. I mean, again, Logan Howland has really done some great things as a young player. Again, B.J. Brooks, Joshua Sosa. That's a group of guys that, we are really excited. Eddie Pierre-Louis has jumped in there. And, again, the young guys and the new guys have really impressed with their ability to be able to execute. And then the older guys are better than they've ever been. The leadership that we're getting from Sexton and Taylor both, and the improvement that they have brought to the table. And then again, my feeling, it's the best, that Fabechi's been playing. These are coming from if these guys were standing here in front of you, they're playing their best football. He and Mike Tarquin, Spencer Brown, those guys. So Bill's done a great job, along with the rest of our guys on the offensive line, coaching them up and getting them ready.
Hey, how about it, Shane? Brad from Oklahoma in the comments. He says he's got tickets for me for the Tennessee game.
Hey, come on now.
Yeah, reach out to me. That SEC podcast at gmail.com. We'll hook it up. But, yeah, so.
They're going to have to work on the video. They're not. That's one thing. If you look at SEC coaches, they got the billboard behind them with all the logos. There's going to be some brand guy saying, "Hey, we just missed a shot to make some to make a little money." So yeah, that will change. I promise you.
Yeah, we got media members, their phones going off. I mean, come on. I mean, this ain't the Big 12, boys. This is SEC. Get with it here. But what other one? Not nearly as long. But he talks about Jaxson Dart. He was asked about because again, this is going to be huge, Shane. Again, we're not trashing the guy. He started one freaking game. Yeah. And he made some mistakes. That's what true freshmen do. And then he looked sensational in the second half. Damn near brought Oklahoma back. If they get that Jaxson Dart, all these Sooner fans are right. Oklahoma's going to be a damn problem this year in the SEC.
Yeah, I think we're executing at a really high level right now. And decision making is even better than it was. The guys around him are playing better. I think the offensive line is in a much better position than where we were in the spring. With some guys again injured or weren't here yet. I didn't mention Garen Hatchett. He's done fantastic as well as an inside guy. But and then overall, just leadership has come. I think he's a comfortable position. He's led these guys all summer and spring, and so it's a little more natural now.
Coach, they must run these practices first thing in the morning, Shay. Maybe he hadn't had his coffee yet or something.
Yeah, didn't have his Bojangles chicken filet sandwich yet, has he? No. Yeah, a little slow, a little sluggish, but hey, it's hot out there, and he's saying the right things, Mike. He's saying the right things. I'm hearing the confidence of the quarterback. I'm hearing the offensive line is starting to really come together. This is things we wanted. These were question marks coming into the season. So, yeah, I think he's saying the right things.
And again, remember, for those not familiar, Oklahoma's got one of the best receiving corps in the SEC, returning 67% of the receiving production. That doesn't even account, Shane, Deion Burks, the transfer from Purdue, who everyone I talk to down there says, watch this guy. He's all SEC caliber right out the gate.
I just saw a highlight right before I got on here,
Right. So, I mean, a quarterback is only as good as the weapons around him, and Jaxson Dart may have the best receiving corps in the SEC to go with him.
That's it, man. You think Oklahoma, we know they're going to have good defense. But like you said, this is an offensive league now, and they've got the weapons to compete and go toe-to-toe with some of these guys. Does Jaxson take that step forward? It's going to be more than Deion, but it's a loaded receiver room. But I think they're going to be fine, man. And I that's the beauty of Oklahoma, kind of the mystique of them, is because – you want to pencil them, like if you think that you could beat them, you want to pencil it as a loss. Like a Tennessee homer, you're like, we're going to beat Oklahoma. But in the back of your mind, you're like, I hope we beat Oklahoma, because guess what? There's a chance you may not. So that's where they're at right now. But any given Saturday, Oklahoma can take you.
Yeah. Hey, Cousin Rick.
Hey, thank you, cuz.
Man, one of the best here. Cousin Rick, appreciate you. Gig 'em, gents. I wish a healthy camp for all the cousins, wins for each of your teams till they play them Aggies. So let's do A&M next, Shane. I got some great stuff here from Mike Elko. But, one thing that I think is not being discussed with A&M, just how quiet it is. And I think that's a good thing because, people like you and I have been running our mouths, predicting this, predicting that. They're going to be playoff contenders, they're going to win the West, yada, yada, yada. Well, I mean, A&M is just letting they're going to let their play on the field do the talking this year with obviously a new direction under Mike Elko. Very, very excited to see what we're working with here under Mike Elko. This is 2 clips put together, Shane, but again, I've made this point before. Whenever you get a coach like Mike Elko, who's obviously a defensive guy, what they have on the offensive side of the football, who they hire on the offensive side, that's going to dictate how successful they truly are. Because we all got confidence in Mike Elko to run a defense, but vice versa. You need the other side. Let's kick it over to Mike Elko on the progression on the offensive side of the football. And Connor Wigman, who, remember, he had a season-ending injury. So how's he coming back from that? This is really good news, I think, for Texas A&M.
Yeah, Mike, kind of going off the offensive line, when you were here, the 2020 season, that unit was a strength of the team. And, you talked about the defensive line being a strength of this team. Do you feel like the offensive line, from what you guys are building, have seen, has the potential to kind of fit in that category of being a strength of the offense?
I think we'd like them to be. I think, from where we were to where we are, it would be hard to stand here in front of you today and say it's a strength. But I think we've made a lot of strides. I think we've improved. It'll be interesting to see that group. It's going to be real interesting to see the offense go out this fall camp. I think it will be significantly better than it was in the spring because defensively there was a little bit of carryover. Like the system wasn't completely gone. And so there was a little bit of carryover for the defensive kids. I think it came a little bit easier to them. I think offensively it completely shifted gears 180 degrees. And so I think there was such a steep learning curve for all those kids on offense in the spring that I don't know that they ever truly got under themselves and were playing as well as they could. I think now we're able to double back, go through it all again in the summer, go out there, get a lot of really quality work in the summer. And I think on the back half of the summer, you saw some noticeable comfort increases in the offense, right? And their ability to execute or do the things we were asking them to do seemed to come a lot more natural in our work this summer. And so that excites you going into fall camp to see what it really looks like.
So with that in mind, what kind of summer has Wegman had, Mike?
A really good one. I think that's probably the one position of them all, right? Because, when you talk about where he was in the spring, learning a brand new system, coming back from injury, not anywhere near 100%. And then, I keep telling, like we talk about this internally a lot, like imagine being a thrower but not being able to put a ton of pressure on your plant leg. So it was, as he's throwing a football, he can't put pressure on his left foot to the way he wants to. And so how you compensate for that, or, it was challenging. It was really challenging for him. And so then to be able to come out of that, now be healthy, be able to play and function the way you want to, be a lot more comfortable in the system, which allows you to kind of be able to play the game the way you want. It's been a cool summer for him to just watch it come together, see the confidence, see the excitement, see the energy. And so, again, none of that is in pads. And so we've got to go out in pads in fall camp and continue to go in that direction. But I think he's a lot more comfortable today than he was at the spring game for sure.
Second.
And hey, shout out Cousin Bo, longtime listener, A&M fan. Shane, he's giving a shout out to Tommy Moffitt, the new strength coach. Our guy, T-Bob Abears, he swears by Tommy Moffitt. So that's his favorite coach he's ever had. And Elko says they didn't have a single player this entire offseason, Shane, miss a lift in Tommy Moffitt's program. So, again, just another reason to kind of buy in. Although we're not supposed to be talking about it. We're keeping it quiet. But maybe buy in, but don't talk about your buy-in down there in Aggie Land.
I like Cuz' comment about Jimbo being, how annoying he was. So I appreciate that one because he's right. Elko just gets right to it. He's telling you what you want to hear. He's telling you what's actually happening. I don't miss Jimbo coming out here just kind of shutting down expectations. We got open competition at quarterback, yada, yada, yada. So it's a breath of fresh air to have Elko there.
Yeah, and apparently I called Jaxson, Arnold Jaxson Dart 9,000 times just then. You know what I mean. Jaxson Dart, Ole Miss, Jackson Arnold, Oklahoma. They know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
But, hey, what other one from Elko? Because again, I appreciate listening to Mike Elko, Shane, because I think, again, we don't have a clown as a head coach anymore. We have someone that knows what the hell he's doing. If he can win at Duke, my God, just imagine what he can do at A&M. And remember Billy Lucci, shout out, friend of the show, he said, hell, A&M's had one corner drafted, Shane, in the entire time in the SEC. That kind of blew my mind, but you sit there and think about it. They've had some good players, but maybe just not that lockdown corner. Well, check out what Mike Elko, he says this is the best defensive backfield they've had in 6 years down in College Station.
Mike, earlier in the spring and even at media days, you mentioned that you really like what you were seeing out of the secondary. Now that we're here in camp, can you talk a little bit about that back end of the group?
Yeah, I think we have more versatility and pieces in the secondary room than we had at any point in the last 6 years. And so when you have that, you feel like you have enough to put it together in a way that can be effective. Coming from where we were last year, I don't know that we have 5 first-round draft picks that we're going to lay out in the secondary, but I don't know that was a reality from where we, you know what I mean? And so the thing that excites me is just we have a lot of options, we have a lot of depth, we have a lot of competition, and we have a lot of guys that are going to be forced to play at their best level in order to get on the field. And so I think when you put all of that together, you have some confidence that there's enough pieces to put together a secondary that can go out there and be effective and efficient in the game. And so I think that's probably what I'm most excited about.
All right, Shane, if we've got a competent secondary here at A&M, there's a lot of people saying they may have the best defensive front in the entire SEC. I mean, if they do and they have a quality secondary, we could be quickly getting back. I think people forget, Shane, just how damn good A&M was on defense when Mike Elko was our defensive coordinator a couple years ago.
Yeah, though. I mean, when the defensive-minded coach is happy about his defensive players, it's never a good sign for the opposing team. So apparently Jimbo just came into my house here. I don't know if you heard my attack dogs in the background, but hey, this is what I want to hear, Mike. And I'm not getting sucked in. I'm not buying into the Aggie hype. I'm not doing it. But man, Coach Elko making it tough today.
Yeah, and I don't know, Cousin Artie says King of the Hill was a great show, but I don't know if I can trust Bobby Hill running my football program. I don't know if that's a shot at Elko or a shot at Josh Heupel, because Josh Heupel is Bobby Hill.
Yeah, that's his crown right now.
Cotton says Mike Elko sounds like Kevin from The Office.
Who does?
Mike Elko.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, he should bring a big old pot of chili. That's my guy. I was thinking about doing that so Halloween. I'm already thinking about what I want to be, and one of it was I was thinking about carrying the chili, but I was thinking about Bam Bam Bigelow. Huh? Shave the head, get the flames up, get the whole outfit and everything. I think that's going to be my Halloween outfit this year.
Well, not only that, Shane, I meant to talk to you about this off air, but we might as well just do it here. But we gotta be formulating some of our guarantees, our locks, our bets, our the prop, whatever you want to call it, drinking beers, dressing up, doing this, doing that, with just something to keep in the back of your mind. If there's a game or two you're really confident about coming up, there's got to be some bets put on the line.
I like that. A&M, we've got the milk chugging one right now. We need a board that we can keep updating and bringing up. But yeah, no, I dig that. And if fans got one, Cuz got one that you say, hey, this would be kind of funny, throw it out our way. Cause I mean, we only got so many ideas before we start doing the same things over and over again.
Right. Well, Shane, hey, let's move on to Alabama. Another first-year head coach in the SEC, of course, Kalen Deboer, or I like to call him Deboring. But these comments are not too boring, Shane. I got to hand it to him. Maybe he's fired up because it's football season too, but it's not often that we've had at Alabama where we got true freshmen that we're relying on. They play young players down there, but there's one guy, Ryan Williams, receiver, 5-star, Shane, that everybody keeps talking about. Jesse Simonton at SEC Media Days kept talking about him as well. Name to know. Let's kick it over to Kalen Deboer, who hypes up his 5-star freshman here.
For a guy like Ryan Williams, what's going to be key for him through these preseason practices to develop so he can be ready to play at this level?
Yeah, consistently just in this trajectory on up. I don't need him day one. I mean, you want every play to be amazing, explosive, but you just want him lining up right, doing the fundamental things, making the easy plays, and then, because of his ability, the big ones will come. So, when your route's on air, run a good route, catch the ball, accelerate out with good ball security, and you find those consistent fundamentals, and, you stack days, and those plays that we know he'll be capable of making will happen.
What have you seen from Kate?
Cousin John, Shane says, yes, do Bam Bigelow, Big Bam Bigelow for Halloween, Shane. But no, this is what I really wanted to ask you, Shane. Is it good I mean, does it make you feel that Ryan Williams maybe is just some outstanding freak of nature that he could come in day one, or are you at all concerned?
I get it.
That Alabama is like, well, man, we're relying on freshmen already and this new coach. Where's the truth there, do you think?
Well, that's you think about that all the time, and I think as a fan, you'd be like, man, the fact that he's going to be a key contributor, just shows how talented he is. But if you hate Alabama, you're like, damn, they got freshmen helping them out. Oh, my gosh, they're going to be hiring Saban back here in 3 months. So I think you go round and around there. But I'm more on the talent side because they do got a lot of talent down there. And the fact that he could be a contributor this early, I think it would excite you if you were a Bama fan.
Right. But speaking of young players, I guess he's not technically a young player anymore, Shane, but Caden Proctor, left tackle last year, true freshman. He came in 5-star, the next great tackle at Bama, and quite frankly, he struggled. He got better as the season got along, but then he struggled again in the bowl game, and of course, Milroe was kind of running for his life for much of that game, and then transfers to Iowa, transfers back, but no spring football. I think that's being under discussed, Shane. He has not put on pads since January. Here's Deboer on Caden Proctor, how he looked coming out for fall camp here.
So, go ahead.
What have you seen from Caden Proctor in his body since he's gotten back, and also just how he's been welcomed back by guys like Elijah?
I don't have a huge, understanding of what he was a year ago other than watching on film, but it feels like he's in really good shape and lean. When you ask people who would have an understanding, Coach Ballou and so forth, it'd be nothing but positive about the progress he's made. Strength and explosive numbers, I know, are up. That's facts. That's real. And then also just the way his body looks, leaner. I mean, he's just so dense and just got so much mass. He's going to be big no matter what. So loved his demeanor out there. It's good to have him back. Good to have him here.
Sounds like he's talking about you, Shane. Big but lean. I mean, again, what are we doing here? We're relying on a guy that hasn't put on pads since January. I'm starting to struggle here with Alabama. Could we be in turmoil here?
I thought you were talking about the mass part. Oh man! Again, you're trying to read body language here, man. And my initial response, especially with audio listeners, it felt like he was like upset that he had to answer that question about him. That's just what I saw. But he comes out and he says the right things. He says the positive things. I think he's going to be a big time contributor for this team, obviously. But lean, healthy. I mean, who knows? This may be a faster tempo offense, and that's exactly what Bama's going to need. So I think you could find good in all these comments that he's saying.
But I also think, Shane, it's fair to say, as good as Alabama could be, they're probably only going to go as far as Jalen Milroe can take them. Mm-hmm. When he struggled last year, Bama was rough. When he got hot, Bama looked unbeatable. So how's he looking in this new offensive scheme? Last thing from Kalen Deboer.
Yeah, I thought yesterday and today took the best steps I've seen since I've been here. Really, the way he's intentional about coming out, even not just what you say, but just how you do things, what your body language is, and he gets that's important. But he's actually just really leading that way, and then it leads to him playing well, and the other guys just following suit. So today he came out again, really today threw the deep ball probably as well as I'd seen him throw. That's a lot of just guys and the timing and all of that and his rhythm coming into play. He's feeling more comfortable there. So some big plays that were made out there. Defense made a couple big ones too, but he's really done a nice job, raising his game, asking more out of himself. I'm pushing him. I know Coach Sheridan is too, every day, just like those details, man, be on it. And he's holding himself to a high standard. It's just not all talk.
All right, Shane, I'm back in. If Jalen Milroe's that good in this offensive system, Bama's going to be awesome.
This is the relationship we've been wanting to see. Coming in fresh, got new eyes on the program. I feel like Jalen hasn't been unlocked yet. You know, I feel like you see like little flashes of what his ceiling could be, but you know there's a lot of things that he needs to develop. And I feel like he's getting that now. And again, maybe I'm just reading the tea leaves or whatever, but by God, we may get to the end of this season and say this was the relationship that Jalen needed to be the Heisman candidate we all thought he could be.
Right. How about this one, Shane?
Oh, thank you, cuz.
Appreciate your cousin Ty. Can't trust Bobby Hill, but I reckon we can trust Bobby P. Arkansas over A&M this fall. So appreciate your cousin Ty. But I got some good stuff for them Razorbacks, Shane. Let's kick it over again. And this is stuff we've heard before. So take it with a little bit with a grain of salt, a little bit of coach speak perhaps. But Sam Pittman seems very fired up about the culture. And interestingly, I mean, this is a new era, obviously, Shane, but they're kind of relying on a lot of transfer guys to kind of be the leaders and kind of leading the culture in the right direction. And quite honestly, again, this is things that have been said before, but clearly behind the scenes, there's been issues within the locker room at Arkansas. Hopefully we don't have any of that this year.
The message of better camaraderie and chemistry, it was evident in the spring. You know, you just mentioned it earlier today. Was that something that you as coaches like realized needed to improve, either by who you targeted in the portal or just talking to the team after they kind of got to campus and everything?
Well, I think all the culture, we start that. But it really happens by the kids. I mean, it really does, because if you look at it, you know, we might be with them 2.5 hours a day, and there's 24 in a day, and whether they hang out with each other, how they are in the locker room, how they are, in their lounge, do they hang out together? I think that happens with people, and I can say a whole bunch of them. Cam Ball's one of them. Landon Jackson's one of them. Taylon Green came in and took the team. Once he earned the starting spot, he took the team. It wasn't anything about me. It was about us. Carmona, Blackstock, Nichols, those guys are guys that are about team-oriented. And if you look at our O-line and our D-line's camaraderie, a lot of times, you're battling, you get tired of each other. They're close, they hang out together. So I think it has a lot to do with who we get on the team, possibly who's not on the team. A lot of things go in with culture. You guys are in the workforce and you're with people and you're going, I guarantee your mind can think of that guy or that lady. You're going, man, if she wasn't here, how much different, or he wasn't here, how much different would it be? You don't have to be saying, hey, I want to tell you who that person is right now. I'm not calling nobody out. But sometimes you get that and your culture becomes very powerful. It can become powerful either way. And right now, it is very, very strong in a positive way.
So you buying it, Shane? You think it's stronger there in Fayetteville?
Yeah, I am. And I've seen this before with other teams in the past. Sometimes you got a little cancer in that locker room and you just got to cut it out, because I think what he talked about there was just the culture, and it's like that everywhere, man. You look in just your workforce, you may have some strong individuals that are good producers or whatever it may be, but as a team, it suffers. And as soon as the shit hits the fan, what is the give up on this team? If there is an unexpected loss or maybe a tough loss, do they fold the chairs and go home, or is this something that they take it as a challenge and try to do better because they're trying to improve or help somebody that's in their group? So I really do think that, the fact that Green was able to get the reins, you do got some experience coming back. We talked to the Hitman. You could kind of sense it with him that this it's fun again. They're making Arkansas fun again, and that's what they got to do. They're going to have to play loose, and they're going to have a blast here, because there is pressure, but they know it. Sam even made jokes about it at media days. They know the pressure's there. So who cares? Just go out here and let's play some football, man.
Yeah, play with nothing to lose.
Exactly.
And this is another one, Shay. We talk about A&M and how we've hyped them. We've overhyped them. Well, quite frankly, I've overhyped Arkansas in the past. So it's probably good for them to be disrespected and not, the expectations lowered and no one's having anything for them. Last thing this is great, Shane. Sam Pittman asked about, hey, the media's picked you 14th. Thoughts on that?
Sam, SEC media picked you guys 14th. Are you guys using that as a motivational thing coming in?
I don't know. We haven't had our team meeting yet. We might. They picked a lot of people 14th. We might.
Sam, as a follow-up to Otis's question.
And if you're just listening back later, he's winking the whole time he's saying that. So clearly, motivation will not be lacking there in Fayetteville. You know what?
No, it won't be. And that's what makes them dangerous too. What's that old saying? You don't want to get near a injured dog or something like that, because you may just get bit. And I think that's kind of where Arkansas will be. Like you said, they got nothing to lose. So every Saturday is a championship Saturday, and I don't want to coin that phrase, but I'm just saying that every time you walk in with a team that has nothing to lose, that's the team you should be worried about.
Yep. All right. How about this one from cousin Devin here, Shane?
Oh, thank you, cuz.
What's up, guys? Love the show. Ready for some football? Go Tigers. We'll be tailgating every Saturday. Lucky bastard down there in Baton Rouge. Ready for OU to walk into Death Valley. You may be ready, but I don't know if Sooners are ready for that. Let's kick it over to LSU, Shane. I got some good stuff here from Brian Kelly. But one thing in particular that I wanted to play here, Shane. Again, they need, I don't know, step up is the wrong word, but they did have 2 first-round receivers go off to the NFL. Obviously, Heisman Trophy winner now in the NFL as well. So can Kyren Lacy, that's a name we've heard all offseason. Mm-hmm. He actually led the team, Shane, in yards per catch. So a big explosive play type guy. But it's a little bit easier when you're number 3 and most of the attention's on Neighbors and Thomas, right?
Yeah.
So can you do that as a number 1 in this league? Easier said than done. Here's Brian Kelly on Kyren Lacy being that number 1 for LSU and Garrett Nussmeier.
Kyren Lacy made a couple nice catches today. Yeah. How much have you seen him grow since you've had him on campus, and how ready do you feel he is to take over as that number 1 receiver?
Well, I think most of his growth has been by virtue of him being the guy, if you will, now, right? I mean, Neighbors is gone. Brian Thomas is gone. He is the veteran player. So sometimes that happens with attrition, with guys moving on. And, I would say that he has embraced that. Some guys don't embrace it. They just continue to be who they are. He's embraced that and wants to be that next great wide receiver at LSU. We have such a great tradition, and so he wants to live up to that standard. And so I've seen a great deal of growth since our winter workouts began, and then spring ball, and then the last 7 weeks in the summer workouts, and then today. So it's been fun to watch that maturation.
So I really wanted to ask you this, Shay. Do you buy into the fact where there are schools like this? It used to be DBU.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get back to that. But for years it was DBU down there, and they always had a next guy stepping up. And quite frankly, it has been receiver U with all the guys they've sent to the NFL and had outstanding college seasons. Do you buy into the fact that some of these players? It's not only, they have to do it for themselves, but to kind of keep that tradition alive, to be the next in line. Do you buy that motivates certain players to be even greater than they think they could be?
I think so, man. I mean, that's why you're there. He came in. You're watching Jefferson and Chase and Butte and all these guys that just in front of you that are proving. I mean, they're athletes, but they didn't just become athletes. One of my favorite videos is, and I don't know if he got to hear this, but when the honey badger comes in, here's a guy, just super, super uber talented, but humble. Wasn't when he was at LSU so much, but he is now. And he explains that the reason that he's where he's at right now is because of all the hard work that he put in. That's why they wear the 7. That's why they do these things. That's why there's names, up and around the stadium there, retired jerseys. It's like they don't just hand those out. They hand those out to people that exceed expectations, that work harder than everybody else. So when you got a long line, I think it adds more pressure to the receivers there at LSU, and that's why they're going to continue to keep putting first-rounders out.
Pressure makes diamonds, Shane. You know it?
Yeah, that's right, man.
I'm in coach speak mode myself right here.
That's
You know what?
nice. I'm going to write that one down.
And then one more for Brian Kelly, Shane. Again, so sort of leading returning rusher only had 280 some. I think it was 284 yards because our outstanding quarterback, Jaden Daniels, I mean, not only obviously was he elite throwing the ball, but he was an elite runner. I think he led the damn SEC in rushing too. But this is something that has been missing from LSU outside of the quarterback run. They're not short on talent, Shane. They got John Emery back. It was one of those deals in the portal, out of the portal. There's always issues with grades and other things, but he's back. They got Josh Williams. He's expected to be the starter, but don't ever forget, John Emery was a 5-star, and he's not one of these kids that was a 5-star, and then we sit here for 4 years and say, well, he was a 5-star, but he's done nothing. There's been so many speed bumps along the way. He has flashed that 5-star talent many, many times. Can he put it all together? That could be the missing piece for LSU's offense this fall.
Brian, you answered the question about John Emery a little bit. My question was, he seemed to get a lot of plays early on.
Yeah.
Everything. What were your impressions of him? And not having a spring, your impressions, and also was he kind of on a pitch count today?
Yeah, so, talking to Frank, we wanted to do two things. One, we wanted to put John in a position where the reps mattered, and mattered in the sense of he had to cut. He had to be stressed. He's cleared. So we wanted every rep that he got to be, maybe this is a bad analogy, but a high leverage rep, if you will. We didn't want him out there, just blocking or, taking a rep that didn't force him to put his foot in the ground and accelerate. Whereas on the other hand, we wanted Josh Williams to have some low leverage reps because we know what we're going to get from that young man. So they're really on a different kind of trajectory in terms of going through camp. Josh, we're going to be very careful with. We're going to get him to Saturdays because we know what we're going to get there. Emery, we want to really stress him in a sense of making sure he feels great with that knee because if he feels great, he's fearless and he's going to go. So that will be kind of the plan with both those guys going through camp. And then, let the two younger players and Durham and Jaxson, let those guys go after it and pick up the rest of the reps.
All right, Shane. So, I mean, if they get the John Emery they hope they're getting to go with Josh Williams, are you buying LSU having hell, we got fans asking, could this be the best rushing attack in the SEC with this offensive line? It could be. Could be. The problem is I've been on this John Emery thing for it feels like 5 years, like this is the year and then it's not. So the thing is he won't be the only guy. He's not a 3-down back. You're looking at a really probably a 3-4 man committee at some point. And they've got the best offensive line in the country. So yeah, definitely. I do see an opportunity here for LSU to kind of seize that. I don't want to say RBU because you already said DBU, but when I think of LSU, that's what I think of is a lot of just crazy good running backs to come through there, so maybe that's the step they take forward. And I think the USC game is going to be a telltale sign of what this season's going to look like, but I expect it to be more run heavy this season. And maybe you could say LSU's quarterback here lately, all these Heisman winners,
Yeah, geez. Well, you'd think they'd have more national championships than many U's they got there.
All right, Shay, let's kick it down to Athens real quick. If you missed the news, Georgia made the decision to dismiss RaRa Thomas.
Yeah.
That was well documented. He had some kind of domestic violence allegations. Again, innocent till proven guilty, but he has been officially dismissed from the team. So again, a team that lost Brock Bowers, that lost Ladd McConkey. Again, it's not like they're devoid of talent down there, but just another hit to the weapons Carson Beck's going to have to work with. Are you getting concerned at all? I mean, Georgia never has any concerns. Are you concerned at all about the lack of weapons down there?
Not concerned, but maybe more intrigued, maybe more interested to see who is the next group that steps up, because obviously not getting into the situation, but if what we hear is true, then should be removed from the team and should, be punished accordingly. But, the focus on the offensive side of the football, I think is, we just talked about LSU. I think you're going to see a little bit of Georgia too, kind of getting back to that running game a little bit more. I think this is going to be more of a balanced team, and there'll be weapons. I'm not worried about Georgia. There's plenty damn 5-stars running around out there to find some offensive weapons for Beck to get to. Arguably the best quarterback in the country. So yeah, Georgia will be fine.
Well, how about this though, Shay? There is some unknowns. Kirby was asked about this right out the gate. What do you want to learn about your team? I thought this was an excellent question, excellent response from old Kirby.
Yeah, Coach, what's something going into camp that you don't necessarily know for a fact about your team that you're hoping to have an answer about prior to the first game?
That last statement, what's our response going to be to the mental and physical adversity they face? I don't know that in spring practice you can simulate that. We try to simulate it in the summer conditioning program, but it's not the same as having all these pads on, helmets on, equipment on, and I can't simulate the heat they're going to have with that equipment on. So I don't know how this team's going to respond to when stuff gets hard and stuff gets tough and guys start complaining to each other and they're not running and they're not getting to the ball and practice is tiring. But that's what camp is. Our introduction last night was very deep into why do you have a training camp? What is the purpose of a training camp? It's to build the toughness within our team.
How tough is Georgia? Oh, gosh, Shane, if they every time I watch Georgia, they look like the damn toughest team in America. You know what?
Yeah, I'm going to give something. Kirby, clip this. Georgia's the weakest team I've seen in 10 years. They are so weak, so inferior. All right, clip it. All right. No, them tough bastards. It's led by one of the toughest coaches that's in the country. And that's one of the things. I think, out of all of them, Kirby would be probably the first one to run through a brick wall if needed. So they are bred tough there. And it starts with the coaching staff. It goes out with the recruiting too. Like, these kids were brought in. They know what the standard is. The standard is higher than most programs, if not all of them, and it's almost like a goal they can't get to, but they got to prove it. So, yeah, I'm not worried about the toughness of Georgia Bulldogs.
Right. And there, you get a response from Kirby that I think he's being as transparent as possible, something he's passionate about. Now, here's the exact opposite on expectations, preseason hype, all this, Shane. We'll have our bullshit meter on the other side here.
Your team has already been picked first in SEC Media Days, and there's an expectation you will be very high, if not at the very top in preseason rankings. This is not necessarily new for your team the last few years. Does that familiarity help you and your players deal with the expectations that come with these picks?
Yeah, I don't feel like we're familiar with it because we just don't pay attention to it. You guys are probably more familiar with it than we are in terms of that's the expectation. They're going to start the season top 5, or they're going to be predicted to win the East or West when it was there, or they're going to be predicted to win the SEC. I've never honestly paid any attention to it, and we don't talk about it as a team. So, the expectation is we're going to develop and worry about today's day and not really, we don't think about that.
I never even knew we were ranked, Shane. You buying that?
They got polls? What do they do there? They rank these football teams before they come in? No, absolutely. He's used it as ammunition. He's came back many years ago talking about how many people predicted him to what, go 8-4 or something stupid like that. So
I think it was 7-5.
Oh, 7-5, even worse. So, yeah, absolutely. They use it as ammunition when they can, and then it's rat poison when you can't. So
Right, and they put out a graphic about damn near every day about where they're ranked and what number one and all this.
I'm sure there's a whole hall that's dedicated to how good they are.
All right, last team, Shane. We got a ton more, but we've already went an hour here. Speaking of Georgia, someone that's trying to measure up to Georgia, Shane, laid Kiffin and them Ole Miss Rebels. And my God, Shane, he got asked this about 6 different times. Here's his 2 best responses on how far the team's come, and he even asked specifically, "Hey, you said after the Georgia game, after they whooped you, you gotta do stuff to look more like Georgia. Have you accomplished that?"
And a lot was made of the talent and athleticism you guys brought on the defensive front with Princely and Walter, but you guys obviously brought in some linemen, offensive linemen as well. Do you think that the offensive linemen you brought in can have the same sort of impact that you're expecting from guys like Walter and Princely?
I hope so. I think that maybe, you guys would be able to see as much as anybody because I kind of see these guys every day. So sometimes you don't see change as much when you see them every day versus you guys coming out today and seeing all the pieces out there. Again, doesn't mean we're going to be any good. But we do, for the first time since I've been here, look like a real team. When you even in walkthrough. And again, that doesn't mean we're going to be any good. It just means that we actually have length and size like, really good teams do. And so, again, we got a lot of pieces to do. There's all kinds of work to do with that. That doesn't mean you're going to be any good. You got to get them to play together. You got to get them to play individually as well as they can, and also to figure out what their roles are. But I do think we look a lot different, and people mention that a lot on defense, but we do look longer and more improved on the offensive line also.
We'll take questions down low. Lane, you made the comment following the loss against Georgia that you weren't where you wanted to be from a roster standpoint. Now that we stand here today, right before the season, where do you feel like you are from a roster standpoint? Could you answer some of those questions?
I think we answered a lot of those questions. I think that, like I said, again, don't mean we're going to win games, but when you go out there and watch us, we look more like, I just said, like what Alabama and Georgia have looked like over the last 4 years when we go warm up against them. So, again, that doesn't mean we're going to win, but if you don't have length, you are going to struggle at times. And to me, it's very hard to go a whole year and play really well every week and everything if you're playing undersized. That gets you at times in some games. And we've seen that over our career here to me, where there's been certain games that has showed up. So we got a chance.
Shane, are you concerned that Ole Miss getting too much hype?
Yeah, that's what they want to know, man. You come out after Georgia game, you got to have the talent. We don't have the talent. Now you have the talent, and then you come out and say, well, maybe. And I get it. You can't say something that people are going to use against you, and you never know just how this team will mesh, but you got it. Ole Miss, you got it. You got the roster that you wanted, that you prayed for, and it's finally here. So now it's time to win some damn football games.
I just wish one time, Shane, we could get social media, Twitter, Lane Kiffin at these press conferences. You know what?
Yeah, please. It makes you wonder if he's even doing it. Probably got one of his girls doing it. That damn dog's doing it. I don't know.
Do you think he's at all though trying to downplay all the hype, all the expectations that we've heard month after month after month?
This is him talking about. I hate saying rat poison over and over again, but that's what people are saying. People are telling everyone how great Ole Miss could be or should be,
right?
And he just wants to dial it back a little bit, because if they get there or when they get there, then he's the hero. But if he fails along the way, then we were still 1 year away or some whatever BS they're going to come out with. That's all this is. You don't want to show your hand, and I feel like that's where we're at with Lane Kiffin. but we all know that he's holding aces, man.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say, Shay, I mean, we're as guilty as anybody hyping up Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But legitimately, this is probably the first time in Lane's career outside of maybe 1 year at Southern Cal where he really had expectations. I mean, again, he's done a fantastic job in Oxford.
Yeah.
But he has exceeded all expectations.
Right.
You win 9 games this year. That's a banner year in Ole Miss history. That's an awful year this year. So that is a huge question mark. And to your point, I mean, they're playing all these medical schools right out the gate. That you come sleepwalking into one of these games, you lose one of those.
Yeah.
By God, Shane, I mean they may burn Oxford down.
It would be tough. It would be tough to do it again. You know, it's almost like, I'm not saying that this was a game or that this was some sort of, you know, whatever, but it feels kind of like it is all chips on the table. Everybody's in, because if this does fail, I don't know how you mimic it the following season. I don't know how you convince media and boosters and all that, hey, you know, trust the process kind of thing. The process got us to this point. Now it's time, like I said earlier, to win some damn football games.
Right. All right, Shane, so I think that's a good place to end this one. We got a lot more to get to. I mean, I looked down, I'm like, my God, we're over an hour already. So
it's back, baby. We are back, baby.
So we'll be back on tomorrow, again at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. A lot more coach comments and things of that nature. But, man, football is in the air, isn't it, brother?
Brother, it is. It is. And it's great because they're here. We're here. We got practice going on. We got football. I can see it there. It's within a month. We're within 30 days now. It's like everything. You've got a couple Saturdays to get your significant other's, you know, honey-do list out of the way. You want to go look at pumpkins? Now's the time to do it, because we ain't doing it in the fall. You know, I don't even know if pumpkins are here right now, but that's where we're at. It's college football from here on out. So be sure to tune in tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We got some more teams. If we didn't cover your team today, we're going to cover them tomorrow. Plus, any breaking news that we get along the way, you'll be the first to hear it.
Yep, and shout out Bradley Childress. He says, "Don't end. I just got here." But
hey, thank you. Yeah, that's my boy.
I just realized, Shane. Again, I guess we'll have to save this for the next one. We didn't even talk about Kentucky and NCAA violations. So tune in for that. We'll have some content on that. Anything else, Shane, before we jump off the line?
No, just, again, get those notifications in. I appreciate everybody subscribing on the YouTube channel and word of mouth, man. We're going to be putting these lists out and these videos and stuff like that. You see it on Twitter, you see it on Instagram, share it, just retweet it. You know, it really does help us out. You are our marketing company, so thank you so much. And all that talking we've done last 9 months, it's finally coming back around to some college football action, baby.
Yeah, Cousin Rick, real quick, shout out again. Thanks for the donation. He says, I'm looking forward to that A&M preview. We still got a couple previews to knock out. Shane, A&M's probably going to be the next one on the docket, so be on the lookout for that. But again, I appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out. We truly, truly do appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.